And I needed them for a lot of recipes, so I just figured I'd put an alloy smelter in there. And because they were so common, I threw this double layer capacitor in. If you put a capacitor in these machines, in these Ender IO machines and thermal expansion machines, it just speeds it up. So with that double layer in, it sped it up so much. I used to have to sit there and wait like a full 15-20 seconds for each thing to smelt. Now it just goes within a couple seconds, so it's nice. Right, and that's the energy cable. That's just bringing the power around from there to all of these machines. I'll get to this in a second. I just want to show you the sawmill. I don't really remember why I put the sawmill there. Honestly, I don't know why I have a sawmill. I remember there was like one specific use for it, that if I put something in there, it gave me a special drop, a special output. It might have been Cinnabar, but I really don't even remember anymore. But it's there in case I need it, so I'm not going to try to like get rid of it. I already crafted it. And now we get to these three. So here's a Magma Crucible, which melts things, a Fluid Transposer, which moves fluid, and a compressor, which squishes things. It compresses things. So I have these three next to each other for a very important reason. These three together are my blaze rod processing. And by that I don't mean it takes blaze rods and processes them into other things. I mean it creates blaze rods for me. Now, as I said, I hate the mobs in the nether, so anything that means I don't have to fight a blaze makes me happy. So when I found out I could do this, I immediately set up this nice little processing center. So here's how it works. I put redstone in here, which actually I might as well show you. I think I need about 10, so I'll just grab a stack of those. And then I need glowstone. Get that glowstone. Okay, so what I do is I put, I don't remember, I think I just need 10 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I put 10 in there and it'll melt down these 10 redstone, and you can't actually see it here because I have it set up to push all of its liquid into this fluid transposer. But you can see it in here as it goes up. It's up to 1,000 millibuckets, or 1 bucket of redstone. And I need 1,000 because I need 200 millibuckets per glowstone. And what I mean there is, this is going to take the redstone, the melted redstone, and put it onto the glowstone. And if you do that, it's not as fast as the Magma Crucible, but so what you'll find out is what it's making is blaze powder, and it's pushing into this compressor. So if you put liquid redstone onto glowstone dust with a fluid transposer, you get blaze powder. Now 5 blaze powder in a compressor, and guess what it compresses into? Yep, it's blaze rods. I'll save you the suspense. But yeah, so it'll give me a blaze rod. Now it's obviously not super efficient because it takes 5 blaze powder, which is, it takes 10 redstone and 5 glowstone to make a single blaze rod. However, blaze rods are used in certain recipes. I believe these ender chests use blaze rods, and some other things. And I do not want to fight blazes, so I don't have to fight a blaze now. I can just... Redstone is common as heck. I have, see, 2 stacks here. Really only 2 stacks? Oh, right, because I have a stack on me. So if I throw that back in, I have almost 3 stacks. Now that I've used the 10. I have 36 glowstone. And then I can always go in the nether and mine glowstone. It's not too bad. Generally, there aren't many mobs around glowstone. The only thing I have to watch out for are gas shooting from a distance. But for the most part, glowstone and redstone are common and easy to obtain. And I can get blaze rods out of them. So I'm going to do it this way. So now that's all of this room explained. And obviously I just stuck my bed here, because why not? And then this is the farm. It is sort of an all-purpose plant farm, with a focus on oak trees and rubber trees. It's also got, as you can see, a little wheat in the side that I use for my farm downstairs, but you can hear the cows mooing, and I'll get there in a second. So the way this works is underneath here is a whole system of machines, and then on top we have some machines. So this is a fertilizer. It takes fertilizer in, which it's currently getting from the composter below, and I see every once in a while you get this fertilizer. It looks at a 7x7 area in front of it. Normally it's 3x3, but I put some upgrades in there. If you look at here, this upgrade is +4 radius, so it's a 7x7. And if any crops in there could use fertilizer, which is basically like bone meal, it might even be more effective than bone meal, I'm not sure. It will automatically fertilize it. We've got over here the harvester, which looks for plants that have fully matured and basically harvests them. It cuts them down and puts all of the drops into this chest. You'll notice a lot of saplings in this chest, and some rubber wood. You might expect it to be more, but there are transfer nodes pulling out to the system downstairs, which I'll get to. Now the problem with a harvester is, if you look over here, it says, well, right now it's empty, so it doesn't say what it is, but this is sludge. There, sludge. The more it harvests, the more sludge builds up. And sludge doesn't cause any serious problems, like it won't explode or anything, but if the harvester is filled with sludge, it slows it down a lot, and I'm not very patient. So instead, I have this liquid transfer node, which pumps liquid out of it, and the only liquid in the harvester is sludge. So it's pumping the sludge out of there into this sludge boiler, which just takes power and some sludge, and it makes random things out of it, basically. So it drops all sorts of things into this chest. Sand, clay, dirt, podzol, mycelium. Well, maybe not podzol, but soul sand. See, I can get soul sand without going to the nether, which is good. Also heat sand, which is basically like regular sand, except if you're not wearing boots, it hurts you. And so it'll hurt mobs. I don't know if I'm ever going to use that, but I have it. A lot of clay and sand, which is always good. I don't have to go out and harvest sand, even though there's plenty around here. So yeah, all of this nice stuff. And by doing that, that's the only problem with the sludge boiler, is if you're within, I think, 3 or 5 maybe blocks of the sludge boiler while it's boiling, it poisons you, because it can. I don't know, I think there's supposed to be a drawback. It's just annoying to me. I just try to stay out of its way when it's active. But yeah, now you'll see these transfer nodes and pipes and this extra chest, and you might say, what the heck is that? So basically what this is doing is constantly taking stacks out of this chest, which has all our harvested stuff, putting it in here, and then putting it back. So why did I do that? The answer is because I needed to upgrade this chest. I didn't have enough space, it was backing up, but I already had all my nodes connected to it. And if I really wanted to upgrade it, I would have to break it open. So the problem with that is, first of all, it would drop all of its contents, and that would be annoying to clean up. But also, this harvester, if it harvests stuff, and there's no inventory to push stuff into, it'll just spit them all out. So I'd be losing a lot of the harvested material in the time it took me to upgrade the chest. So instead of doing that, I got lazy, and I just threw another chest on top with these. So basically, it's only doing like 1 stack at a time. I don't know why there are all of these extras. Do that. Take those. But yeah. And then it's pushing it back. So what happens is, if this inventory gets full, it'll pull this out, and then the harvester can push into here, and then the extras will just stay in here. So it's kind of a buffer, like the extra buffer chest up in my sorting system. So, what is downstairs? Obviously, with all the moving... Oh, and there's another entrance here, which I made because a lot of times these trees will grow and their leaves will be right in front of the doorway, and then you can't get anywhere. Like that, only sometimes worse, where it yep, like that. And you can't get anywhere without breaking it, and if you break it, then anything that drops won't go in the chest, and you have to manually do it, and blah blah blah. So instead... crap. Well, this was supposed to be a way around it, but apparently it's not far enough away. I might do something with that later. Maybe when I'm prettying things up, I'll move it over or something. Anyway, so let's go downstairs. Hi, cows. I got cows. See? Cows. So why do I have cows? First of all, I do use them as a food source. I do breed them up and kill them and get all kinds of steak. And leather for books and stuff, but mostly for the steak. But the main reason these guys are here is, if you look down there, and that cow is in the way so you can't see it on the tooltip, but there is a sewer down there. And a sewer takes mobs that are above it and converts their presence into sewage. So basically it acts as though they're pooping in the sewer. And that's important, because the sewage gets piped with these buildcraft pipes, thermodynamic pipes, sorry, into this composter. And this composter just takes sewage and converts it into fertilizer, and obviously then this goes up into the fertilizer machine. So these cows are providing the sewage that gets turned into fertilizer and then gets pushed up into the fertilizer machine, which makes all of my plants grow faster, which means they can be harvested sooner, and it makes the whole farm more efficient. So I love these cows. But they actually have another bonus. You see, the sewer doesn't just collect sewage, it also collects mob essence, which is basically like liquid XP coming from mobs, more or less. I mean, there are some of the mods in this pack actually have legitimate liquid XP, but a lot of them use mob essence, which is similar, only you can't actually get experience from it, but you can use it in things, in machines that do things that normally take experience. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So at first I had a little bit of a problem with these, because they would create the mob essence, but the composter can only take sewage, so the mob essence would get stuck in these pipes, and then no sewage would come through, and it would back up the system, and it was annoying. So at first I tried to sort of blacklist mob essence from the servo that's down there, pulling stuff through the pipes. That didn't quite work as well as I thought it was. Maybe I don't understand how servo blacklisting works, but I put a bucket of mob essence in the blacklist, and it was still pulling essence out, so I don't know. Maybe it just is a priority, so that if there was no sewage and there was essence, it would still pull. Either way, it was still backing up. So instead, I now allow mob essence and sewage through, but I have this pipe connected to this auto enchanter. Now the auto enchanter takes mob essence and enchants things with it. So basically, you can set the level of enchantment that you want. It goes up to 30, I think? Yeah, up to 30. And then you can set whatever level you want. And then it takes the mob essence coming in from those cows, or from anything, but in this case from the cows. And if I were to put... I don't have an unenchanted vanilla tool, so I actually don't have anything to show you enchanting right now. But I wonder if I can enchant gems. Nope. No, I can't. It did nothing. But yeah. So if I had something to enchant, like I've enchanted all of these, I would set the level, put it in here, and it would use up that essence instead of experience, and use up the power, and it would enchant stuff. Now, the higher the level, the more essence it takes, and the more work it takes. So basically, it converts essence into work, effectively. So it uses up more essence, but it also takes longer, so it's kind of a trade-off. In this case, I have plenty of essence, because of this thing. So you know how when you breed animals, or at least when you breed cows, you get experience? So yeah, that's converted to essence too. And for a while I was just sort of killing cows and breeding them, and that's how I was getting my essence, and it wasn't very efficient. And then I found out about this little machine. So this is a breeder, and it does just what it says. You put breeding food in, which in this case would be hay. No, sorry, wheat, not hay. You put wheat in, and anytime there are 2 breedable cows in this pen, it'll breed them automatically. So it was a very efficient way. I put a whole stack of wheat in there and had a whole bunch of cows, and then I came over and killed most of them. Got a lot of meat that way and a lot of experience from both the breeding and the killing. So you might wonder why I have seeds in there. I don't know if this is true, but I didn't want to test it. Apparently there's a bug with these breeders where if you have wheat in the first slot, it will use up that wheat even when there are no cows that are able to breed. So it makes it very inefficient. But it only happens in the first slot. So if you put something else in the first slot and then the wheat in the second slot, it's supposed to stop that. Now I haven't had that problem, but I've also been using the second slot trick the entire time. So I'm just going to leave it like that. It's no big deal. And obviously the wheat comes from my farm, because why wouldn't it? So this is that chest I showed you above with all the harvested stuff. Right now all the wheat has probably been moved to that buffer chest. But I can always go up there and grab it if I need it. I'm getting a lot of cotton, which I can turn into string and wool. And string is actually quite important. I have a whole barrel of string in my storage room, so every once in a while I just come here and craft up some string. Maybe at some point I'll have an auto crafting set up for that, but probably not until I get into AE at least. You'll notice my rubber wood is going down, so I have all of these transfer nodes going all over the place. So let me show you what this setup is. First things first is this has a oak wood and birch wood filter on it. Now there's no birch wood anymore, I don't think. I think I got rid of the birch trees because they weren't growing very well. But at least the oak wood gets pumped into 2 places. Into this chest, which is where I have all my excess wood. So this is where I'm getting all my wood from basically now. I think I've used up all of my harvested wood. So just all this wood. And it's also pumping into this Redstone Furnace, which is a furnace, except it runs on electricity instead of like coal. So, like a furnace, if I put wood in here, it gets converted into charcoal. And so that's how this system becomes self-sufficient. As this farm harvests all the wood and stuff, all the oak wood that shows up in this chest gets saved here and also here. So half of it goes there, half of it goes here. The half that goes here gets smelted into charcoal and pushed into this ender chest, which, as you probably have guessed by now, is the same ender chest network as the one in my storage room that had all the charcoal in it. So, charcoal. And yeah, so these ender chests, in case you don't know, so vanilla ender chests are unique to each player. And all ender chests have the same inventory. These ender chests are not the same. These are not unique to each player. You can make it private to just you if you stick a diamond on here and use a diamond. I'm playing single player, so I don't really care about that. I'm not on a server. There's no one else around to open it up for me. So I'm just leaving it public. But what I could do is if I had some dye, like lapis for blue or rose red for red or whatever kind of dye, I can change these 3 little fabric pieces. And this is the channel. So basically if I change these, only ender chests with the same pattern of colors on these will link up to each other. So if I made this like a blue one in the front instead of all gray, it would no longer have all of these in there. Although if I changed it, it would start pulling in from there, but it would no longer have those previous charcoals in there. And whatever else happens to it after that will not be reflected in the ender chest in the storage room. Unless I set that ender chest to be blue as well, in which case it would link up again. So yeah, this is very good because it allows you to use different networks of ender chest for wireless transportation of items. So in this case, I'm using just the default all white as the fuel chest, but later I might end up making a network if I have a quarry or a mining turtle of some sort. By the way, turtles are robots, basically. So if I have a mining turtle or a quarry at some point, I'm probably going to set up an ender chest with a different channel than the fuel chest, and that'll go back into my sorting system, so that way it'll just collect ores for me. Of course, at that point I might need auto-processing of the ores as well, but I'm not at that point yet. So yeah, so this fuel chest is connected to this transfer node. Now, this is a very messy network of transfer pipes. It may be confusing if you look at it as to what it's doing. Believe me, I wish I had done this a little more neatly. Like I said, organization is not my strong point. These pipes have given me such a headache. So if you look here, you can see those black lines. And I have a wrench. And using the wrench, and I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to mess anything up, but if I right-click with a wrench, it will change where those black lines are. And those black lines basically mean that items will not go out that way. So when an item gets to this particular pipe in the corner here, it will not go that way into the chest, which I don't think I really needed because I have the transfer node there, but either way. It won't go that way, and more importantly, it won't go this way. So what that means is when things get pumped out from the ender chest and they reach here, they will always go downward, and that is important. Because this is, again, a fuel chest, so the pipe system down there is what leads into these 3 furnace generators, and the furnace generator that you can't really see that's back here, let me come around here, and this one. See, they're all connected to that pipe system. So what happens is when any of these start burning up their fuel, as soon as there's available space for charcoal, charcoal will be pumped out of here, or any fuel really, but at this point they're all running on charcoal. Will be pumped out of here and into whichever generators need them. And this redstone furnace is using power from those generators. So it comes full circle and becomes self-sustaining. And that's important because that same redstone cable, all the stuff coming from these generators, is what's powering the auto enchanter, it's powering the composter, it's powering the harvester up there, it's powering, again, the redstone furnace, it's powering the sludge boiler, it's powering the harvester, and it's powering this, which is the planter. So this is facing upwards into the dirt, and it's got the 7x7 upgrade, the 4+4 radius upgrade. And this takes all of the plantable things and plants them whenever there's an available space on the ground above. So basically it's an auto planter. And I have that pipe connected, which is connected to this whole messy system of me wrenching things and trying to get things directed in the right way. And that takes from the chest all of the plantable items. So basically anything that gets harvested that can be replanted goes right back into the planter for later. And the reason the chest was still full of saplings is because these are all pretty much full. Although that one's not, so I wonder why it didn't go back in. I wonder why it's not pulling. Oh, you know why? Well, I can't really get in there because messiness. But I think... yeah, see, this has rubber trees. The transfer node has rubber tree saplings in it. And if you look at the planter, the rubber tree is a full stack, and there are no other rubber trees and no empty spaces. So it's not going to go into here until one of these until it starts planting rubber trees.